This week on Great Chat, we discuss the changing landscape of media, how technology and storytelling is impacting the content business. I'm Sally, and this week we're joined by Angela and Ashley. Great Chat is brought to you by Mercury, the fintech used by entrepreneurs through every stage of company building. We use Mercury to run this podcast, and we love recommending it to our founders and fund managers. Try it yourself. Visit Mercury.com to join over 200,000 entrepreneurs who use Mercury to make managing their money unbelievably simple.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
I think we're all in San Francisco right now.
It's conference season.
Oh my
Ashley,
gosh.
how was TechCrunch yesterday?
You know, it was good. It felt a little quieter than when I was there 2 years ago. And I don't know if that was actually because it was just like better managed. Like 2 years ago, there was this long line to even register. And this time it was very smooth and efficient. But yeah, it was great. Helen and I did a little, we called it the Great Chat Mini, and we definitely promoted the pod. So we have 5 new listeners, guys. But we did something in partnership with Mercury, our Great Chat sponsor. They had this awesome sort of booth / stage, and we did a little conversation on our favorite topic, startup awareness building, and how do you break through the noise in this crazy moment. And it was actually really good. People were super engaged. We had a crowd around the booth. So I think Helen and I both had a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that. I'll be heading to Napa in a few hours, thanks to Jessica Lesson and the Information Summit. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. I went last year, and it's awesome. I don't know if it was maybe, the caliber of people. Also, it's just fun for me to be back in the Bay Area and run into so many people. But I felt like it was one of those conferences where people weren't performing. They were actually saying what they think. And maybe it was the all woman audience changes some of the dynamics. I don't know, but I can't wait to hear what you think. I was a huge fan and bummed to miss it this year. But I have another conference to get back to in New York.
The vibes are back in San Francisco.
I'm heading to the Goldman Pig Conference in Vegas in a few weeks, but that's also right before the F1 event. So if any of our listeners have hooked up with F1, slide into my DMs. I want to go.
Of course,
Angela, let him loose in Vegas.
I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she was like, I last minute got invited to the F1 event in Mexico City this weekend. So I flew from New York to Mexico City, and the vibes were great. And now she's gone down a whole rabbit hole of F1 content and wags of F1 driver content. So I'm waiting to be dragged down that rabbit hole. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
I'm ready.
I've been resisting that rabbit hole. I'm afraid to watch the series. I don't currently have space for it in my life. So I'm a holdout. But Angela, if you give into the rabbit hole, let me know how it is.
They've done an amazing job on their social media strategy. They just did a whole interview series with I forgot her name. I think her name is Amanda, who does Chicken Shop Date.
Oh, Amelia.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
Good. Yeah.
Wow, that is not a partnership I saw coming.
Yeah, no, it's very well done.
That must be a sign that their audience is so much broader than I thought it was. Because I don't know, I have lots of assumptions about who her fans are, and they're not the sort of natural cross section with who I would think the F1 fans are. So that's incredible.
We have such different social media feeds because mine is all K-pop Demon Hunter. Everyone is how to do the purple roomy braid, which I actually think Helen is doing for her Halloween costume. So we'll have to.
Oh, I have an interesting nugget on this that I heard at another conference. I was at the Paley Summit, which is the big media summit that happened to be held in Silicon Valley this year. And one of the big topics was the fact that K-pop Demon Hunters couldn't lock in the toy deal in time. And so they're not going to get the toys for the holidays, and it's the first time that both Hasbro and Mattel have collaborated on a toy together because there was such a high demand for it.
Why did they not get it together in time? Did they just not think it was going to be a hit and deprioritized?
I think so.
Well, because of this pod, I watched finally, and it's amazing. I got really into it. So I get it. I get the hype. Like, it was a very, very compelling storyline and like very catchy song. So if anyone else was a holdout like me, just give in. This is a rabbit hole you can afford to go down.
Welcome to the dark side, Ashley.
Yeah, no, the light side. We're fighting demons. No, it was good. It was really good. Actually made me really happy that like children's content is like thriving. Like, good storytelling, really creative. I mean, that one is probably a little scary for some kids. There's a lot of like scary demons and a lot of like murder of those demons. But yeah, it was really well done.
This is probably a sign of the times, but my kids are very into learning the dance routines for the songs. And one, they're like very complicated. So I tried to watch a YouTube tutorial to take them through it, but quickly decided it was impossible. But there's this whole trend of like little kids doing the Saja Boys like dance routine and posting it on YouTube. So people are, the influencer generation is starting at age 5.
Well, I like your feeds better than mine because my feed right now, and I'm talking about Twitter, is all just like pro-natalist stuff. Like, I don't know if you saw the Pomeroy Lucky, like, I wish I had married my wife at 16, and which was actually it was very sweet. Like, his sentiment was there's something really special about people who like loved you and bet on you before you were successful or wealthy, and I think that is like a great takeaway. But then like all of tech Twitter was like, I have 10 children and I wish I had 20. And it was intense. So guys, I'll trade feeds with either of you.
I mean, this is a rabbit hole we don't have to go down, but I do flip flop back and forth. A part of me is like, it would be so nice to have had children younger. My mom was actually 23 when she had me. So I feel like our age gap was very narrow, and it's great to have young grandparents because my parents had so much energy to play with my kids. And, I'm 10 years older than her when I had my first kid. And so I'm like, how active will I be if I have grandkids? But then the other part of me is like, then you miss out on your 20s in New York and doing stupid things, or maybe you don't, but I can't imagine like doing the same things with a baby at home.
I think it's good. I do think I'm not like anti the pro-family, pro-natalist like stance over. Like, I think it's good for people to see that there are multiple paths, and like if that's something you want, to feel like it's socially acceptable to do that. And I will say, when I was like in my early 20s or mid 20s working in tech, like no one my age had kids. And so if that had been something that like I was ready for and I wanted, I think it would have felt very hard to do. And so I do think there's a positive to just more modeling of different types of lifestyles and behaviors. It's more the like, this is what I did and now everyone should do it, and it's the way to be happy. Like, that stuff just drives me a little bit crazy. But overall, I do think it's like positive for, you can be hard charging, doing 996 in your 20s. You can be starting a big family in your 20s. I think it's hilarious when people want to do both, and there are maybe some gender implications there. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there are infinite ways to be happy. There are infinite ways to be miserable. Everyone gets to figure out what works for them.
I love that.
I have been having some like hilarious conversations offline while in San Francisco, and maybe it's just some of the crowd I've been hanging out with. But I think in New York, people are not as focused on like the bubble, or is this a bubble? When does it pop? Nor are they as focused on like potential dystopian outcomes from AI and like AGI, or artificial superintelligence. And it's funny because I've had so many conversations in San Francisco where in the same conversation, someone is simultaneously worried that we're in a bubble and that it'll burst, and also that like AGI is coming in the next 2 to 3 years and will be like massively disruptive to society and like send us into a dystopian spiral. And I just think those are two such funny fears to hold at the same time. My takeaway is, when we're talking about dystopian outcomes from AI, and I know you guys had like the bubble talk last week, so we don't need to spend too much time here. I think people are processing it intellectually, but not at a deeper level. Like, no one wants to actually build their go bag and, buy their plot of land with friends, although maybe we should have a great chat compound ready just in case.
Into that.
The New Zealand bunker where it's going to be fully stocked with Spam. We have it ready.
I know, but we don't have a private plane, guys. I think we need a domestic option as well.
Or
unless Angela, you have a plane I don't know about.
Are we still flying? I feel like there's probably some underwater route now to get us to New Zealand. Ashley, it's so funny. I was reading, I think this must have been on Twitter, someone's spicy take that in SF, you're at the center of news. And, if you live in the South Bay, you're 2 to 3 months behind San Francisco. And if you live in New York, you're 6 to 9 months. And if you're in Europe, you're just 20 years behind. But I wonder if some of it is just the timing, right? SF was so enthusiastic about LA, and it's just now reaching New York. And so in 6 months, the bubble bursting will have made its way to New York as well.
Or I'm also curious too, what percentage of your friends in New York are in tech versus what percentage of your friends are, because
Sally, 100% of all my friends are in tech. I don't know how or why I did this.
We need technology.
I don't have any friends who aren't investors or founders or media. So I'm in the broader bubble either way. I think it's more San Francisco is actually living in the future, right? I don't think New York is months behind reality, but more people here are more frontier oriented. And then just broadly speaking in New York, it's a little bit like industry transformation oriented, or I don't know, it feels a little bit more real world grounded. And so I think a little bit about bubbles. I definitely think about dystopian futures just because I read a lot of science fiction and dystopian fiction, and so I can't help but do that. But yeah, the conversations here have been so different, but interesting. And now we'll see what it's like in London next week. I'm sure no one is thinking about this at all.
Ashley's coming in with a breaking news.
I was at an event yesterday, and it was for a humanoid robotics company. So of course they made it as futuristic as possible. So you walk up to, the check-in desk, and it's 2 robots that are checking you in. And then you walk into the main reception area, and at the bar, it's a human bartender and then a robot bartender who's making your drinks for you. So it definitely, when you're here in Silicon Valley, you definitely feel like you're living in the future.
I love those cafe robots at SFO. I don't know why people wait in line for 20 minutes for coffee when...
Sally, those were a social capital investment while I was there. And it was am I even allowed? It was kind of a contentious investment. So every time I see those, I crack up. It brings back some memories. Yeah.
Well, you have Sally to thank for your carry from that investment then. She's single-handedly carrying that investment.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know that I've gotten any, but when I do, Sally, I owe you a coffee from a robot.
Oh, yes. I will be collecting that one.
I mean, we should have a whole separate conversation about, I'll post the video to our social of the robot bartender, but we should have a whole separate debate about humanoids. I think they're both cool and terrifying. And I was telling Sally, we were doing diligence in a company, and we get to the office, and the robot opened the door, and I was face to face with this robot, and I totally freaked out and panicked, and I grabbed my associate and I threw her in front of me, and I was like, you go in first. You see.
That's what associates are for. Human sacrifices.
Well, she also left. She recently left the firm, so I don't know if the two are related, but not my finest moment as the manager. But
don't let Angela's sweet smile fool you. She is cutthroat.
My survival instinct kicked in. It was fight or flight.
I don't know if we want you on our dystopian escape compound, Angela. I feel like we'll be sacrificed in some way. I don't know. Sally, I've never wanted to get the robot coffee. I like barista interact. I mean, I went to I'm staying in San Francisco. I've gone to the same coffee shop every morning for my latte. And now 4 days in, they know my name. And I'm like, oh, it's just such a nice little human
Ashley,
interaction.
the robot can learn your name, facial recognition, and say, Ashley, I know your order. Let me make it for you.
It'll scan my eyeballs. It'll be your HRV is currently low. You haven't been sleeping enough. Here's extra caffeine.
We joke now, but check in a year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. This is getting kind of Terminator-esque.
Brave New World.
It quickly went from coffee making robots to Terminators. But yeah, it's always interesting being here in Silicon Valley. It's a little bit of a bubble, and sometimes it's nice to step outside and see what's happening. Which maybe we'll head over to our main topic of the day. So Sally, you were recently in LA for LA Tech Week. Tell us what the vibes in LA were like.
So, I mean, LA Tech Week was great, but I think broader, there's so much happening in the media space, and because we've flirted around this topic so much, might be a good time for us to check in on the state of the business. The one thing that, Ashley and I were just talking about was that every media company wants to now be a tech company, and every tech company wants to have a media platform or a media arm.
And we were having this conversation 10 years ago when Netflix was Netflix, Amazon, Apple, everyone was moving into streaming and content. And so it's just very funny to have a new version of this.
Yeah. I think the big news right now in terms of this shift is Warner in the traditional media sense. And again, what is traditional media and what is new media? This is also a long-going debate. But so Warner Media is up for sale. Warner Media owns everything from CNN to HBO, but then there's also the cable business that's all declining. And so we're seeing a big shift in that. What I think is really interesting is who could be the buyer of this. And this will change, who are the leaders in streaming, who are the leaders in content and distribution. The other side of the table is Paramount and David Ellison, who is head of Paramount, who merged that with CBS and Viacom. So these are old names that we media people have obviously followed, but I don't know how many people in the tech world have heard Viacom in a long time. So if CBS and Viacom now merge with Paramount, also merges with Warner Media, that's going to be one of the most powerful media and content arms. What people also forget is that Larry Ellison was one of the big bidders of US TikTok. And so merging the distribution of one of the most powerful distribution platforms of TikTok and the content, I think, will be really interesting to watch. So, I don't know, the Ellisons are the new Murdochs that have come onto the scene. So
I want the TV series with Larry Ellison as the new paternal figure
Succession
of the family.
Season 4.
I don't remember how many seasons, but we'll add a new one, the Larry Ellison edition.
I feel like he's one of the few people in tech who probably have a colorful enough storyline to make it work. He's such an interesting character. He's very into sailing, as I think most people know. I think he owns America's Cup or is somehow affiliated with America's Cup, but he himself is a competitive sailor. I think he's almost died twice competing in very intense races, and
owns 98% of Lanai Island in Hawaii, I think, right? And has revitalized that economy. Controversial how he's done it, but
he's married to someone 47 years younger than him. Great
man
TV
with
content.
He needs characters, people are too, people have been married for way too long. They have way too stable of a relationship, we need the tumultuous characters.
Totally, we need drama.
Yes, because the old media moguls of the prior generation, they were real characters. They were real cowboys. I love the story of Sumner Redstone, who was the chairman of, I think he owned Viacom and CBS and Paramount, right? Those were all his companies.
Yes, and National Amusement. So there was a lot of drama between who wanted to own the Viacoms of the world, the CBSs of the world, and that's a whole another saga there. But yes.
But he was in a Boston hotel when a disgruntled employee of the hotel set fire to the hotel, and to escape, he hung by one hand from a window from the third floor for like 10 hours and was burned over 60% of his body. He said he was burned down to his arteries on his legs. He was in surgery for like 50 hours, and the doctors didn't think he was going to walk again. And then he came out of that very much alive and re-energized and just, a total badass.
We're going to work him into the storyline. He's coming into the show.
Or,
that's incredible.
And like even people in, this is like very like old media, but the outdoor advertising, the Clear Channels of the world, like that was just like two people driving around in the middle of the night, throwing stuff up and, racing around. And I don't know, I think we need more colorful stories like that, like more media cowboys.
Media is a funny industry because the like media that we describe it is a shrinking business, but it's a sexy business, right? It's like showbiz, it's Hollywood. And so everybody always wants to have a piece of it in a way, like the fact that like even Jeff Bezos or like these billionaires want to own newspapers. That
Benioff with Time Magazine.
Time Magazine, yeah. So I think it's always this like kind of tension between the two. And, I'm always a strong defender of media. I think media is required for democracy. And whenever there's this like tension from like Silicon Valley being like, oh, traditional media, there's these new media that's really disrupting. This is how media should be done. But in reality, there needs to be a lot of checks and balances for a lot of these things to work. So I'm constantly rooting for it. That I think also reminds me of another news that came out this morning, which is CNN finally rolled out their All Access app. I think notable the fact that they're not calling it CNN Plus or CNN, whatever. It's just like, hey, this is the new subscription business platform, which is clearly everything is moving away from advertising. And this is notable because CNN tried to roll this out 3 years ago. CNN, again, part of Warner Media, and then like it wasn't part of their strategy because when things are all operating under a cable bundle, they want to make sure that the bundle is more beneficial than the sum of than the part itself. And so I'm very interested to see how that rolls out, because a lot of the focus is on no longer on the like what's on the TV screen, but more on the app experience. And this is something I've talked about a long time, where when you are a consumer of content on television, you want to also be able to capture the audience on a second or third screen, because whatever action you take is going to be where the value is going to be in the future. There's a lot of our like colleagues, I think all of us know, that are part of this rollout. So I'm excited to watch that.
I think it's such an interesting point. You see ESPN going through this transition as well. And I think we've talked about it briefly on the pod, but live events and live sports in particular are sort of the last bastion of old media, right? Which is the most eyeballs, the most attention, the most ad dollars. But even for those formats, the way that people consume games has changed because of TikTok and Instagram. So they don't necessarily want to watch the whole game. They just want to watch the highlights. And more importantly, you're monetizing it differently because sports betting is such a big trend that's happening. And so you want to be able to make real-time bets as the games are happening. And so that just necessitates different technology, different interfaces, different ways for consumers to interact with that media, which is both, a threat and an opportunity for these companies to adapt.
Yeah, totally. Like ESPN has become the like trading companion or betting companion to any of these apps. And like, I think it's DraftKings and like even Robinhood have all tried to create their own content series. They haven't been able to take off. And so I think they're heeding to the like, hey, let's give that back to the people that know how to create the content. How do we coexist in a world where we can benefit off each other? So I think there might be some really interesting collaboration that happens between content and platforms that, like you said, Angela, where people can take action on this, like betting.
But it is interesting. It feels like the old media landscape is going through a pretty structural shift right now, where there's a lot of consolidation that's happening, and a lot of that is probably driven by like the tech players like YouTube and TikTok, where they're driving users to this almost barbell type of attention span. Either you're like flipping through videos every 30 seconds, or you're sitting down to watch The White Lotus for an hour, and like everything else in the middle kind of gets squeezed. And so
don't forget the 4-hour podcast interviews though. Somehow there's like an extra end to the barbell.
It's like third is a separate stomach from the meal. So like 4-hour podcasts are the
you have to go like really like everyone has ADD, everyone has a short attention span, and so you either need like quick bites or you need to go really deep, like you said, Ashley. So it's a really interesting trend. So anything that sits in the middle, it's hard to. There's some interesting stats that happened this year in terms of these like rankings. So streaming overtook broadcast and cable for the first time this summer. Again, you're seeing that trend with even Comcast's parent company, Versant, Comcast is spinning out their cable business and creating a new co, so that the cable assets are on a different arm. And then also YouTube just overtook Netflix in terms of watch time.
Wow.
And YouTube
and chill now.
It's YouTube and chill. YouTube is the most powerful media platform in the world.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. All right, guys, we need to like work on our YouTube subscriptions then.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is a lot of the viral videos are like dance related, and I won't speak for all of us, but my own ability to learn dances is really quite terrible. So there's going to have to be an AI version of me.
Maybe that could be our shtick. Really, really bad dancing.
Speak for yourselves, guys. I'm just kidding.
All right, Sally, lead the way.
Angela, one area that you and I have talked about over the few months is microdramas, which is, I think, another category which we kind of briefly mentioned that's taken off in China, for the last months or year, I think. But I'm curious what you think about that. And I think you and I have maybe opposing views on where this might be going.
I just want to say, first of all, I really love the titles of all of these short dramas. Like, let me just read you a select few. Never Divorce a Secret Billionaire Heiress. Great title and great life advice. Fated to My Forbidden Alpha. A werewolf romance that's like a little edgier.
Wow. Are these the ones that you've bookmarked that you're watching?
Pregnant.
Angela, are you revealing what the algorithm thinks you're gonna like? This is like when someone's like, "Why am I getting porn in my feed?" And then you're like, "Well."
Yes, this last one is definitely served to me by the algorithm. I hired a billionaire Manny. Like that combines all of my desires into one title. But no, Sally, it's really interesting. I think we first talked about this probably in January on the podcast, actually, and Real Short had actually been the #1 app in the App Store for a while, overtaking even TikTok. When I checked earlier this week, it was sitting at number 13. So still popular, but definitely feels like that wave has slowed down a little bit. I think there was probably a lot of unmet need that these companies filled very quickly. And then now the question is, what keeps users engaged and how do you bring them back? Which is kind of an old media platform question that they're facing.
This idea is not new, as we've talked about in our pod, is Jeffrey Katzenberg has tried to do this with Quibi. I think what has changed is it's the way that people are dividing up their time. So even these like I'm seeing a lot of the like copycats of this microdrama space, and it's really about how you chop up the show. So even though it might be the same 3-hour series, a 3-hour show, a movie, or like a 12 episode series, rather than having it presented as 12, you present it as like one episode is like 10 episodes in one. And so some of the like tech that people are pitching is like, what is the best way to like slice up these episodes? Because you want to click at the right moment where you want to click for more. And it's lower barrier to entry for people to like start a show because they don't feel the pressure of like, oh, I need to sit through a 40-minute show or a 3-hour movie. And so I think the technology of slicing those are getting better. And then just talking about your algorithm, this just brought me like a funny anecdote of I was at lunch like a week or two ago, and a friend of ours said, "Hey, can I see your Netflix algorithm?" And I reluctantly showed it to him, and I realized it is the most like violating thing ever. Because like third row down, it literally said like midlife crisis shows. And I was mortified.
Oh wait, now I have to look at mine. I like
Yes.
haven't paid attention to that.
It's very revealing. And so and the mini shorts world microdrama world is it gets trashier and trashier. So and I do see myself clicking through them, and so that one I will not be revealing.
All right. Well, for the pod, we'll have to each post our Netflix algorithms
Oh my
for the
gosh.
world to see.
My husband once asked if he could I pay for ChatGPT, and he like wanted to use it for something, and I was like, send me your question. I will ask it for you. You're not allowed to see the constant conversation.
Contextualize it
So
and
like,
say, my husband is asking.
yeah,
Please do not.
yeah, don't include this in my memory, please. Oh, interesting.
Are you looking at your Netflix feed?
I am, and it's not very interesting. The only thing that I guess like the third row or whatever is suspenseful TV war and politics, which okay.
Mine are heartfelt romantic TV shows, mother-daughter relationship TV dramas, and growing up millennial, which I feel like is a very accurate description.
Oh, if I keep going, I get growing up millennial. All right. Well, Sally, I already had my midlife crisis, so you shouldn't feel bad that you have that and I don't.
So I posed this question to the pod because I was on a flight back from Boston recently, and I was asked by the person in the seat next to me if I would switch seats with her husband. And I'm very particular. I like the aisle seat. I make sure to secure myself an aisle seat. And this would have entailed switching to a window seat. And so I said no. And then I kind of felt like a bad person. So I wanted validation that I wasn't. So basically the question is, when you're asked to switch your seat, do you do it? And why?
So I think the default is like you are under no obligation to do it. If someone asks for like a seat that is parity, like if it was like an aisle seat in roughly the same part of the plane, like I would probably do it just to be nice. And then the only other circumstance where I would do it is if like it was a parent and their kid, like and they were separated, and then I might be like a little bit more flexible. But yeah, no, it's like every person for themselves, and
I have strong feelings about it. I think you pay for the seat, you pick the seat, you keep the seat.
Well, all right, to continue on the rapid fire, do you guys have a go-to travel outfit?
Yes.
Okay, Sally, tell me everything.
Yeah, Sally's very chic, so I want to hear what her travel outfit is.
No, I just wear my black yoga pants, my black Uniqlo cashmere sweater that's washable, and my sneakers, and a good jacket.
Nice. I'm like very similar, except it's Vuori, and like everything's very soft and comfortable. Although sometimes if I'm the crazy person who will do like a month in a carry-on. And so sometimes I'm actually just wearing like my bulkiest stuff to be able to bring as much clothing as possible.
Yeah, I have these Gap sweatpants that sort of look like real pants. So they're very comfortable, but also sort of passable if you're working in San Francisco. And so those are my sort of go-to pants because I can transition straight from the flight into the office. But that's a whole separate side topic. But I feel like Gap is having a real renaissance right now with Zach Posen at the helm. And so everyone should go check them out. Okay, aisle or window?
I used to be a window because I used to be able to sleep on planes. And now I'm aisle because I don't want to be trapped.
This just reminded me of there was a Nicki Minaj like great line where she was asked this question on like Jimmy Kimmel or one of the late night shows. And she's like, I don't travel on planes like that.
Sally, you should have just said that deadpan and we'd be like, oh, sorry, Sally.
I have bathroom anxiety. I have bathroom. So I am aisle on a 6 hour flight, and then window on a shorter flight. And then if I'm fortunate enough to fly business class, then window.
Okay, but here's a question. If you are in the window seat and you need to get out and the person in the aisle is sleeping, do you awkwardly like gymnastics over them, or do you wake them up and have them get up and then you leave?
I would wait. I feel like they need to be awake.
Oh, you do? Oh no, I
You wait. What if you have to pee?
I mean, I've gone entire
really
Coachella
derailing.
days without like peeing because I hate porta potties.
I do try to time it so that I go like before the flight, and then like I wait as long as I can, or like I just like avoid the sleep time. But yeah, when I gotta go, I gotta go.
I feel like you get, if you're like not the aisle, and I'm often the aisle, you get like one bathroom break on a 6-hour flight. Maybe you get like 2 for like a international flight. But man, if there's someone who needs to get out every hour, I'm like, you need to be an aisle seat person. Like, this is irresponsible of you.
Guys, it's holiday season. We're all going to be on flights. Like, these are the important questions that we need to be talking about. So very, very important.
Plan ahead, everyone. All right, guys. Well, speaking of, I think like some of us are going to be in different countries and continents next week. So safe travels and see you guys soon.
And a happy Halloween to everyone.
Woo, happy Halloween.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Great Chat. Have questions for us? Be sure to submit them at anothergreatchat.com. See you next week.